Today we are reading the book Who Was Peely? Chapter 1 to Chapter 3. Here, let's get on to it. Who is Peely? In the summer of 1953, Peely was homesick. Peely said Pele had arrived in the city of Santos, Brazil, just weeks earlier. He had grown up in Bauru, a tiny town to the west, but his incredible skills on the soccer field got him noticed by a team called Santos. He was only 15 and moving to a city had been a major decision for Peely. Without soccer, he might still be shining shoes or working in a field. Most of his friends on his hometown team could never dream of leaving Bauru. Now on the Santos team, Pele would earn enough money to support his family, and he could make his dream of becoming a soccer star come true. At just over 5 feet tall, Pele was tall at his age. He was an amazing player who could dribble well, and he was very quick. On his new team, though, he was playing against other larger adults. He was worried he would not succeed, but he was also living away from home for the first time, and Santos was a strange place. Then he missed an easy penalty shot during a game that cost his team a victory. He was embarrassed and sad. Pele had enough of his life in the big city. That's it, he thought, I'm quitting. Early in the morning, he packed his bag and tiptoed out of his room, back to Bauru. But as he walked quietly through the players' dormitory, he was stopped by a big man who worked for the team. Big Sabu helped the players with their gear and watched over the young players. In his many years with Santos, he had seen other teens like Pele. They were young, scared, and often thought of quitting. So Big Sabu stopped Pele and told him he could not leave without permission. He wanted to keep Pele on Team Santos. Pele listened and made an important decision. He headed back to his room. He would keep aiming for his dream, and it turned out to be the right decision. Pele had arrived at Santos as a very good player, but that was not enough. Pele worked hard and soon learned to do more than just dribble. He worked on shooting and passing and being in the right position to help his teammates. He ate more, exercised, and grew stronger and more confident. In a few months, he was one of the team's stars, scoring goal after goal. With Pele's help, Santos became one of the top teams in the country. When Pele was only 7, he was named to the national team for Brazil and helped his country win its first World Cup. In the years that followed, Pele became the best and most famous soccer player in the world. He helped Brazil win 3 World Cup titles and scored more than 1,200 goals for his teammates and his country. He also traveled to the US in 1975 and helped the sport of soccer become popular among Americans. As the best player in the world's favorite sport, Pele became an ambassador for soccer and a symbol for the sport itself. Edison Artemis do Nascimento was born on October 23rd of 1940 in the tiny village of Três Canções, Brazil. Even in 1940, there were many parts of the world that did not have electricity. Most of the southeastern Brazil was one of those areas. In honor of their village finally getting electricity, Edison's parents named their first son after the American inventor, Thomas Edison. Edison's father was named João Romasso, but went by his nickname Dodinho. but Brazilian men are known by a nickname. He was a soccer player for the town's team. Edison's mother was named Celeste. 2 years later, his mother and another son, Jair Edison, had not been nicknamed Pele. Like all Brazilians, the Nascimento family spoke Portuguese. Brazil had been a colony of Portugal until 1822, when it gained independence. In the 1700s and 1800s, millions of Africans had been brought to Brazil as slaves to work for the Portuguese. The Nascimento family had ancestors among those African people, so Edison had very dark skin. Domino loved playing soccer and hoped that his son would follow him. But playing professional soccer was not an easy life. In Brazil at this time, every village and town had a team, but only the very top players on the biggest team earned the best salaries. The smaller teams like the one in Três Corações and nearby towns could not play their players well, and that made life hard for Edison's family. They lived in a brick house that was nearly falling down in places, and Edison didn't own a pair of shoes until he was 7 years old. In 1943, Edison's sister was born. She was named Maria Lucia. When Edison was 4, Dodino was asked to play for a team in Bauru, a larger town to the south. He was also promised a second job for when he was not playing soccer. This was a good news for a family. On the way to Bauru, Edison was excited to ride the train for the first time. He was thrilled to see the country of Brazil rush by the open window. He nearly fell out of one before being caught by Dodino. Life in Bauru was not easy. The family's house was also very crowded. Edison's grandmother and his uncle Georgie had also moved to Bauru, so the family could stay together. The house had only a small backyard, and it was often muddy. They had no air conditioning in the steamy summers, and they heated the house during the winters with a wood stove, which they also used for cooking. It was Edison's job to stack the wood that was delivered to the house each week. Dodino's team did not provide the second job it had promised him, and he had injured his knee, which meant he could not play all the time. Sometimes the family struggles just to have enough to eat. Their relatives tried to help them out. Even Edison had to help. He worked as a shoe shine boy at the railroad station. He also sometimes worked at the soccer stadium when Dodino's played. He loved watching his tall, strong father leap above the other team's players to knock the ball into the goal with his head. Every boy in Edison's neighborhood played soccer. He spent many hours playing with his friends. He was fast, and even though he was small for his age, he was one of the best. The boys were too poor to buy a ball, so they got an old sock, stuffed it tightly with rags, and tied it up with a string. This lumpy ball was kicked all around the streets in their neighborhood. The goalpost might be a pair of old shoes. There were no real fields and very few organized leagues or charity. Edison did have one advantage. His father, Dodino, loved showing his boys and all he knew of the game he loved. He practiced dribbling and passing with the softball. He taught them about the positions of the field and how to shoot the ball at the goal. He showed his son how important it was to be able to play well with both feet and how to control the ball no matter how it came to you. Edison loved this time with his father. The more Edison played, the more he had dreams of being a pro player like Dodin. One day, he told his friend. I'm going to be as good as Dad. About a year after they moved to Baru, Dordino finally got his second job. He worked as a government health clinic, sweeping floors and helping the staff. Edson sometimes helped his father at work. Dordino would use the time to tell Edson stories of his life in soccer. As Edson's dream grew bigger, he grew even closer with his father. Now that the family had enough money, Edson could finally go to school. Poor families in Brazil needed to save money for school fees and supplies before the children could begin classes. His mother and his aunt sewed up his old shorts and made them in a nice shirt. He got a box of colored pencil to use in school. But Edson, the boy who loved playing soccer, did not enjoy school. He did not like sitting still, and he did not like doing homework. He often sneaked out to go swimming or to play soccer with his friend. When he was in class, he talked too much. As a punishment, his teacher sometimes stuffed his cheeks with paper. Other times, she made him kneel on hard, dry beams. When Edson was about 9, the boy he played soccer with started calling him Pele. Most nicknames in Brazil are based on a person's name, what they look like or how they act. But no one really knows what Pele means. I've been back to Baru many times, Pele later wrote, and have asked all my old friends from those days, but they don't have a clue or how or when it started. At first, he hated the nickname. He was even suspended from school for hitting a boy who called him Pele, but he eventually grew to love that name, that he would soon make world famous. Chapter 2, September 17. Pele and his friends watched the Baru professional team and read stories of the soccer heroes about Brazil. When he was 10, Pele and his friends formed a team of their own. They named it September 7. After the day, Brazil gained independence from Portugal in 1822. It was also the name of the nearby street. But Team September 7 wanted to do more things than just play in the streets. The first thing they needed was a real soccer ball. Pele had an idea to collect stickers that pictured famous Brazilian soccer players. The stickers were sold with candy and other products. If they saved enough stickers, they could earn a ball. Finding all the stickers was hard work, but finally the boys had all the stickers they needed. The team got their new soccer ball. Since collecting stickers was Pele's idea, the ball stayed at his house and he became his team's unofficial captain. Being the keeper of the ball did have some downsides. Whenever the team broke a window while they were playing, the neighbors went to Pele's house to complain. And sometimes the boys would hit a light pole and knock out the electricity for a short while. Then everybody pointed at Pele. But stickers couldn't get them everything they wanted. The team also needed money for shirts and matching socks. They still did not have soccer cleats, so they decided to change their team name to Shoeless Ones. One summer, the town held a youth soccer tournament. Pele and his teammates wanted to enter, but the rules said all players have to have soccer shoes. So the father of the 3 of the players bought all the boys new cleats. Shoeless no more. But they had to change their name once again and became Ameriquinha, which means Little America in English. Though many of the other teams in the tournament had older players, Aquamitia won game after game. They reached the final match, which was played at the same stadium in Baru where Domino played. A large crowd chanted Pele's name as he scored a large, big goal, and Aquamitia returned with the championship. After the game, Pele was thrilled when his father said, "You played a beautiful game. I couldn't have played any better myself." Pele's success in this tournament led the Baru junior team to invite him to play with them. Dordino was thrilled, but Celeste was not. Pele's mother wanted him to focus on school and not follow the difficult life of a soccer player. But Pele knew this was a big step towards his dream. So when he was just 13, he became a pro player, receiving a small payment for each game. On the junior team known as Baquino, he worked with a great coach named Waldemar Di Bonito. Di Bonito had played for Brazil's national team in the 1930s and 1940s. It was a great honor for this squad of young teenagers to have a famous coach. Baquino was a strong team, Pele later wrote, and although Waldemar, we became even stronger. We were invincible. He meant that his team could not be stopped. Led by Pele's goal-scoring kills, Baquino won a youth championship for the state of Sao Paulo. In early 1955, one game he scored 7 goals. Before the game, the stadium doorman almost didn't let him inside. He thought the pin-sized Pele was just a kid trying to sneak in without a ticket. Meanwhile, Pele still struggled with homework and with paying attention. He had to repeat one grade twice, but he managed to make it through and finish grade school when he was 15. It had taken him 6 long years to finish 4 years of school. His mother was still not pleased with all his soccer play. She was very afraid that her son would suffer an injury like Dominic. As Pele began playing more and more games, one person was missing from the stands, his mother. In fact, Celeste was so afraid he would be hurt she never saw him play in person throughout his long, amazing career. Pele continued to show his skills in every game. He was able to keep the ball on his feet even as he ran top speed. Though he was small, he could jump high and did very well at headers, bouncing the ball off his head as a pass or to take a shot at the goal. From Di Bonito, he learned the famous bicycle kick. In this move, Pele turned his back to the goal and kicked with legs in the air, one at a time. With the second leg, he kicked the ball from above his head towards the goal behind him. It was an amazing shot. As Pele developed his skills, his love for the game only continued to grow. It was more important to him than anything except for his family. When he played, he demonstrated that love and tremendous spirit, and the fans responded with cheers. The money he earned from playing for Baru was not very much. Pele wanted to continue to help his family. He was too old for shiny shoes, so Pele got a job selling small meat pies to passengers on the many trains that stopped on Baru station. He also worked for a while in a shoe factory. At one point, a team in the city of Rio de Janeiro, then a capital of Brazil, invited Pele to come play for them. For Celeste, that was too much. She felt that Pele was just a baby, and that Rio was too far away and too dangerous for a teenager. So Pele stayed in Baru, but he wondered how much longer. Waldemar Brito continued to teach Pele and the other players about the game they loved. But in early 1955, Di Bonito got another offer to move to the city of Santos. Di Bonito sat down with Domino and Celeste and told them that he thought Pele should play for his new club, called Santos Football Club, or Santos FC. Celeste was still worried about her baby. Domino trusted Di Bonito. However, Sao Paulo was not as big or as far away as Rio de Janeiro. It was only around 200 miles from Bauru. Pele, of course, was thrilled. Together, the family decided that the teenage star should take the next stop in his career. For the train ride to Sao Paulo, Celeste made Pele his first pair of long pants. Dordino traveled to Sao Paulo with Pele. Raul Di Bonito met them at the train station. Together, the trio headed to the Santos Stadium, called Villa Bellarmino. On the way, Pele saw the tall skyscrapers of the city and marveled at the crowds of people. Once, a teacher had told Pele that the ocean was salty. Now he had a chance to see for himself. He asked to stop at a Sao Paulo beach so he could taste the ocean to make sure. You can't imagine how grand it was all for me, he wrote later. At the stadium, Pele watched the team in action and they met the players, all older than he was. Many knew Dordino from his long years as a player. One of them was Baskino, the team star. Put your mind at rest. He will be safe with us, he told his old friend. Dordino returned to Celeste, knowing that his son was in good hands. The family would no longer have to pay rent over the next 2 seasons. Pele became a key part of the Santos team, playing around the state of Sao Paulo and traveling to other parts of Brazil. By 1985, all of Brazil was looking forward to the World Cup, the international championship of soccer. Fans read soccer updates in newspapers and listened to the games on the radio. Those who could afford tickets watched the club teams play live. It was the biggest story in the country and millions awaited the news. Which player will be chosen for Brazil's national team?